Good afternoon, everybody. It's Saturday afternoon. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. It is a beautiful day outside, a little bit windy, but a beautiful sun in the sky, beautiful blue sky, and life is good. I've just mowed the lawn, so even some of my jobs are out of the way. Not doing Enchanted Wood today because it's the weekend. We are going to our normal pattern of doing picture books at the weekend, and we have got a couple of Molly's choices today. We have got Millicent and Mia. We've got Star in the Jar, and we've got a lovely book by a gentleman called Tom Percival. We're going to have a few Tom Percival books tomorrow. We did one of the Tom Percival ones last weekend. The Seesaw was Tom Percival.
Tomorrow we're going to have two Tom Percival.
Two Tom Percival. So tomorrow it's going to be Herman's Letter and Ravi's Raw. So it's going to be a bit of a Tom Percival. We're kind of fans of Tom Percival in this house. So we were going to start with Millicent and Mia. Is that the plan?
Yeah.
Okay. Right, and I'm going to read them over your shoulder. So if I maybe hold the book open, that's the easiest thing to do. So this is one. It's called Millicent and Mia, and it's by a gentleman called Richard Byrne. Clear my throat. Okay. One Saturday, Millicent was busy making sandcastles in the garden when... thump! A big wooden box landed beside her. "Ouch!" said the big wooden box. Millicent peeped under the lid, and a dazed-looking creature sat inside. "Hello in there. Are you okay?" asked Millicent. I think so," replied the creature, rubbing its head, "but I've got no idea who I am or how I got here." Millicent giggled. "You're funny. Perhaps I can help." Millicent spotted a label on the big wooden box. Cat. "Mystery solved," said Millicent. "You're a cat and your name is Mia." "Yippee! I've always wanted a cat. You can be my cat." And she took Mia indoors. Millicent loved her new cat, but he did do some very uncatty things. And some very naughty things too. I wouldn't like that in my regard, would I? Millicent's dad got crosser and crosser. "Right, that's it," he said. "Mia will have to go outside until he can learn to behave like a proper cat." Millicent didn't like putting Mia outside, and Mia certainly didn't like being outside. Poor Mia had been sitting all alone for some time when a stray cat came strolling past. "Hey, why the sad face?" he asked. "I have to stay outside until I can learn to behave like a proper cat," Mia explained. "Well, old chap, you don't look much like a cat to me, but today's your lucky day. Marvin's the name, and being a cat is my game. Just follow me." Being a proper cat was a little tricky at first, but Mia soon got the hang of it. Then... "Ruff, ruff! Dog, quick, run!" cried Marvin. Mia wasn't sure what a dog was, but he was sure that he didn't want to find out. Marvin and Mia ran and ran until... something caught Mia's eye. "Come and see the meerkats at Steve's Safari Park." "Nice move, Mia," said Marvin. "We've lost him. Now that was clever, even if you're not a cat." "I'm not a cat," replied Mia. "No, look, you're a meerkat." Marvin and Mia showed Millicent what they'd discovered. So they brought home the poster saying, "Come and see the meerkats at Steve's Safari Park." "So Mia isn't a cat doing naughty things. He's just a meerkat doing meerkat things," said Millicent. "That explains everything," said Dad. "But it's not fair to keep Mia here. He belongs at the safari park with the rest of his family." Later that day, a van arrived to take Mia back to his family. Millicent and Marvin waved goodbye. They were really going to miss Mia. "Are you going home to your family too, Marvin?" asked Millicent. "I don't have a home or a family," sighed Marvin sadly. Yippee, said Millicent. I've always wanted a cat. You can be my cat. She took Marvin indoors. Millicent and Marvin did lots of fun things together. Millicent loved her new pet, and Marvin loved his new home. And best of all, every weekend they went to the safari park and did lots of meerkat things with Mia and his family. There you go. Welcome to Steve's Safari Park. The end. And there she is holding Marvin and Mia's hands. There, nice little book. Millicent and Mia, Richard Byrne. Right, next one we've got a book by somebody called Sam Hay and Sarah Massini called Star in the Jar. This is a beautiful little one. Can you remember this one?
Yeah.
It's nice, isn't it?
Would they catch it?
Yeah. No, it's nice. So there is that. Okay, so is his name
Boy.
Sam? Yeah, can't remember. I think it's. No, you can be called Sam.
Yeah, because it's from Sam.
Okay. My little brother likes looking for treasure. Tickly treasure. Got a feather. Glittery treasure. Even litter bin treasure. But one day he found something extra special. So special I thought it must belong to someone else. We asked the helpful girl from school, but she said it wasn't hers. We showed it to the dinner lady, but it wasn't hers either. We asked the sheriff, but he shook his head. The fairies hadn't lost it, nor had the wizards. If no one has lost it, my little brother said, that means I can keep it.
It's not everyone, really.
No, but my little brother loved his new treasure. He put it in a jar and carried it everywhere. That looks fun, doesn't it?
This is in the toilet there.
Where is he? Oh yeah, no, absolutely. As the day turned into night, the little treasure got shinier, but it didn't look happy. Then my little brother spotted something. Up high in the dark, dark sky, there was a message. Looks a little bit like a polar bear there.
Yeah.
Lost. One small star. It's here, my little brother shouted to the sky. But the little star's friends were too far away to hear. We had to help the star get back home. We tried climbing up high, teaching it to fly and bouncing the star back up to the sky. But nothing worked. Maybe the little star would have to stay in the jar forever. Then an idea popped into my head. I raced indoors and looked in every cupboard and every drawer. I found flashlights and fairy lights, book lamps and bike lights, armbands and head torches, and we sent a message back. That looks fun. Do that in the summer. Then the sky began to crackle and fizz, and the stars joined together and made a long, swirly, whirly, sparkly silver chain all the way back down to our garden. And they lifted their little friend gently back up to the sky. My little brother felt sad. He'd lost his special treasure. But then... he realised he hadn't lost his treasure. He'd made a friend. Oh, that's beautiful, isn't it? Look, that's cute. They're waving up. A forever friend who would twinkle him to sleep every night. Good night, star. Actually, coming back from the Chinese last night, the stars were really, really bright last night. The North Star was really, really bright. I have to see if it's so bright tonight.
Sometimes I can only see the North Star. I can't see
but
any more
it was
stars.
like super bright last night. Right, this next one is called Perfectly Norman by Tom Percival.
This is probably my favourite.
Yeah, no, I think this one is a very... I can recommend it if mums and dads are listening. All the Tom Percival books are just lovely. If you want to get into an author, an illustrator, his are particularly good. Right. Perfectly Norman by Tom Percival. Norman had always been normal, perfectly normal, until one day he grew a pair of wings. Norman had imagined growing taller or growing a beard like his dad, but he'd never, ever imagined growing a pair of wings. Still, they were here now, so he decided to test them out right away. Soon Norman was swooping around and generally having the most fun ever. But then he had to go in for dinner. You see, Norman had always been so normal, he didn't know how his parents would feel about his extraordinary wings. As he went in, Norman covered himself up in a great big coat. His parents didn't notice the wings, but they did think it was odd to be wearing a coat indoors. Bath time was problematic, so was bedtime. The coat was hot and uncomfortable, but Norman had decided that no one should see his wings ever. The next day, Norman went to the park, but he was far too hot to play any of his favourite games, and so it went on. Long car journeys were unbearable, the swimming pool was dreadful, and that was nothing compared to his friend's birthday party. The only time that Norman could feel normal now was when it rained.
That would be absolutely normal.
Yeah. One day a boy tried to pull his coat off, and Norman had to run away, hot-faced and angry and sad. He wished he'd never grown those stupid wings.
It looks like that boy in the picture is like pulling his pants down.
Yeah, no, it does, doesn't it? Oh, it's because the dogs ripped his ripped the back of his trousers off, so you can see his spotty pants. Then he saw some birds high up in the sky and remembered the joy of his first flight. It occurred to Norman that it was the coat that was making him miserable, not the wings. "Why don't you take that tatty old thing off?" suggested his mum and dad. Norman looked up at them hesitantly. His parents smiled and nodded. Norman smiled back. Then he threw off the coat and let his wonderful wings fan out. Norman leapt into the air. Finally he was free of that coat. He noticed a few other children wearing thick, heavy coats of their own. They looked up at Norman and round at each other nervously. There was a moment's pause, and then... whoosh! The sky was filled with flying people. Norman had never felt so happy. He realised that there was no such thing as perfectly normal, but he was perfectly Norman, which was just as it should be. No, that's a lovely message, isn't it? What does it say there? Perfect for soothing even the biggest worries. And we've all got a few worries at the moment, haven't we? That was perfectly normal.
And there's one called Ruby's Worry.
Ruby's Worry, you're right. So we're doing Ravi's Raw tomorrow, are we?
Yeah, and then maybe next
week
weekend.
maybe do that one. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for those choices, really nice choices. So I hope you have a fantastic Saturday. We'll be back tomorrow with 3 more stories. But in the meantime, have a lovely time. We're going to have a quiz over house party on with our neighbours over there. So looking forward to that. So have a fantastic day. Be nice to mummies and daddies, and have a really nice day. Okay, bye.